It's not too chilly of a day today. So I thought I would take some time and go into the woods for a little bit and see if there is anything that we can forage. Now, a couple days ago, maybe a week or so, I came across a lichen that grows on trees in the woods here, and I actually think it grows all around the world. And I want to introduce that to you. I've been wanting to for a long time, I just haven't gotten around to it. So let's go see what we can find. I think that there's some rose hips still out there if the birds haven't gotten them. But let's just go back in the woods for a little walk and see what we can find and see maybe if I can teach you guys a couple things. Let's go. Oftentimes when I'm in the woods at different times of the year, I notice things that will help me identify a plant later in the year. So for instance, as I'm walking down this path, I'm noticing a lot of wild raspberry cane, and it will just allow me to, put in my mind that over in this area of the woods on our property, there's wild raspberry, and then I can look for that in the spring to harvest their leaves because they are medicinal. And then also in the summer, I can come back and watch for their berries to harvest their berries for jams and, fresh eating and things like that. So I want to show you what they look like in the fall so that you can remember that and start coming back in the spring and in the summer to harvest from them. Now on our property, we have both wild blackberry and wild raspberry, and these canes here are wild raspberry. And the first way that it's easy for me to identify them is the cane color. The color of their canes is a little bit on the purple side or red side. Another characteristic is that the wild raspberry canes are rounded and more smooth, and they also have less thorns on them than the wild blackberry. They also have a whitish tinge to some of it. You can see down here. And that is, you can wipe that off. I'm not really sure what that's called. I'm sure there's some technical name for it. But on the wild raspberry, that white powdery stuff, that can kind of be wiped off. So I will remember this area because it actually has lots of these canes over here. And so I can look for them again in the spring and in the summer. Let's see what else we can find. I did bring my basket. I bet you thought I forgot. You can't go foraging without a cute basket. Okay, I have found one example of what I came in here for. The lichen that I'm looking for is called Usnea or Usnea or Usnea. I think there are a lot of different ways for you to pronounce that word. The spelling is U-S-N-E-A. And let me go show you an example. We actually have a lot of this growing on our property. And from what I understand, the presence of lichens on your property is a sign of air purity. While Usnea and other lichens grow all over the world, they will not grow in areas that have a lot of air pollution. This particular specimen isn't really big, and it's a little on the gray side, which to me means that it's kind of drying out, or it's not actively growing very much. Usnea only grows on tree branches, so you won't ever see it growing on the dirt or on the ground. It can be mistaken for reindeer moss, but they're two completely different things, and a little bit later I will show you some indicators of Usnea that you can look for so that you can determine that it's Usnea, not something else. I pulled that branch out of the woods because I was getting attacked by all kinds of pokey things. So this is the branch that I found in the woods, and here is one piece of Usnea and another piece here, a little one here, right here, and they're actually itty-bitty ones that have started all over. And there's actually another kind of lichen on here, actually two others. I don't know much about all of the lichens. This here is a lichen that is covering this branch. I don't know the name of this lichen. There's a lady that I follow on Instagram that uses lichens such as this, boils it down and then uses it as dye. So a lot of these lichens in the woods, you can figure out what they are and just figure out all these different things you can do with them. What I'm interested in today is the Usnea. So I'm gonna pop this off of this branch and put it in my basket so I can take it in the house. Usnea is very slow growing. And so if you are interested in harvesting Usnea, my advice is to look for it that has fallen out of the trees, branches that have fallen off of trees like this one. And sometimes when there's a windstorm or a heavy rain, big pieces of Usnea will fall out of the tree and will land on the ground, and that's a good way to harvest them too. You also don't want to over harvest and to just harvest a little bit at a time. You know, you don't want to put yourself in a situation, especially on your own property, that if you really need some of the Usnea and you've over harvested it because it's so slow growing, you know, you would be out of that type of medicine if you're truly relying on that for your health and for your family. Here's a piece. And here's a branch with some on it. Usnea is a very powerful woodland medicine that is available all around the world. It is considered an antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. The antibacterial properties that it has can treat staph infections and strep infections, any of the bacterial infections from those two groups, which are called gram-positive bacteria. There's also indications that the antiviral properties can treat the common cold, the common flu, but also the strains of the herpes virus. Antifungal properties, I have read that it can treat candida infections. So if you're interested in learning more about that, make sure you do your own research. Now, I don't know much about dosing instructions, so that would require a lot more research on your part before you start taking it yourself or giving it to your family member. At this time, we have not replaced Western medicine, antibacterials, antivirals, and those kinds of things with the Usnea because I just don't know enough about it yet. However, I am very pleased to know that Usnea grows out here on our property. So if it comes a time where, you know, antibiotics aren't working anymore, or if they're no longer available because of something that has happened, I know that it's out here and I can use it to treat my family. I hope that one day there will be more information about it and I'll feel more comfortable using it, and so I can bring it into the house some more and be confident in its healing abilities. Most people who use Usnea to treat whatever illness they have use it in two forms. They use it as a tincture, which they make at home, and they use it as a salve to treat skin infections, which you can also make at home. So let's keep going and looking for more examples of Usnea, see what else we can find out here that I can show to you, maybe collect a few more things. But I would like to show you kind of a closer up view of Usnea so that I can help you learn about it and you can identify it when you find it. I've seen something fun over here that I want to show you guys. Oh, there are several of them. Those bright green, yellowy green balls. Has anybody seen these before? These are hedge apples, or that's what they're called around here anyway. These are from the Osage orange tree, which is very common around here and in the Ozarks. These aren't oranges, and the Osage orange trees don't create oranges. I actually think there are several other names for this kind of tree. These have some folklore behind them. In the old days, or whatever, people would collect these and they would actually throw them underneath their house in their crawl spaces because they were said to keep away spiders and all kinds of other creepy crawlies. Now, I don't know if there's any scientific validity to that, and we have not thrown these underneath our house, but they do have kind of an astringent smell, kind of like Pledge furniture cleaner, so a little citrusy. If you know anything else, any other uses for these Osage oranges, put that information in the comment section below so we can all learn from you. I would love it. Behind me here is a huge wild rose thicket, and about a week ago it was just still covered with teeny tiny rose hips. But it looks like I am late to the party. There are only a few left. Most of what's here is just the outside skins. It looks like all the birds have come through to stock up on their winter vitamin C and have eaten most of the rose hips. That's good for them. I'm glad that they're going to be healthy throughout the winter. I might pick a few. You know what? I'm actually just going to leave the few that are here for them to eat the rest of. But I'm happy that the wildlife was able to benefit from them. Well, on today's outing into the woods, I didn't find a lot of Usnea, but I did find enough that I can start a small jar of the tincture, which I've never done before, but I'm going to try this winter. But I did on my walk find a really great example, a beautiful multi-piece of Usnea on this branch, and I'm going to be able to show you the specifics about how to identify this with this piece here. So this is the Usnea we're going to be working with today. This branch just fell off one of the trees and I noticed that it was on the ground, and this Usnea can be used to harvest. There are two main things that I look for to identify Usnea. The first thing is that each little plant connects to its branch by one little stalk. So what I mean by that is this little Usnea right here is connected to this branch in one spot. It doesn't have like a big finger network, like if you found reindeer moss on the ground. It is just connected with one spot. You can see that there's just one spot here that it was connected to the branch. So that's one way. The second way is by pulling one of the little branches of the arm. Usnea is a little bit elastic, so when you pull on it, it doesn't just break. There's a little bit of give. See that? Oh, and there, do you see how that white central part came out? That's another huge indicator. So when you're stretching the little branches to see if they're elastic at all, inside is this little white piece. Now there's a name for it. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe a filament. I don't remember. But that is a huge indicator that you've found Usnea. So next time you're out in the woods, keep your eyes open. When you're looking for things on the ground, I'm always looking for mushrooms. I didn't find any today because it's so cold. But keep your eyes out for Usnea. Have a chance to look online about it. See if it's something you're interested in trying to look for your medicine cabinet, your holistic medicine cabinet, and let me know what you think. You guys, I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoy coming out to the woods with me and exploring everything that God has created on this planet to heal us and just to be beautiful. It really is amazing. And I hope that you're becoming as interested in finding all these natural things out as I am. I love doing it, and I love bringing you along. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you liked what you saw, if you're enjoying our channel, please subscribe. Please tell your friends who you think might like us as well. Tell them about us. Check us out on social media, including Instagram. And until next time, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.